Today, I am going to talk to you about two items in this one video. One, unions. Two, minimum wage and what it's doing to this country. First, let's talk about minimum wage because that's short and sweet. As minimum wage goes up and up and up, we're slowly reducing the middle class. We're going to become like the European societies. They have working class, they don't have a middle class, and they have the upper class, the rich. It's from their heritage from way back when they had serfs and peasants and the nobility and royalty. Then they had the working class and the aristocrats. And their minimum wages, they got up to $20 some an hour. The problem with that is that the working class is still in the poor and poverty level. And the aristocrats, which the rich people, are above that. And there's nothing in the middle. Well, that's what minimum wage is going to do. As our minimum wage goes up and up, it raises the poverty level up and up, which in turn reduces the size of the middle class and increases the poverty level or the lower class of our society. That's where the people aren't making enough money to barely get by, and they are doing the manual, menial type jobs. Now, we in the United States had a middle class. That middle class was above minimum wage, but below the rich. It was kind of like a transfer. You could get in there and be upper middle class, which is making a decent salary, or lower middle class, or even in the middle of middle class, but you were above the poverty level by a fair amount. But as they keep increasing minimum wage, our government, it keeps raising the poverty level. Now you may say, no, it does. Yes, it does. Look at where the poverty level annual income is now compared to where it was 10 years ago. And you'll see that the poverty level is always above minimum wage. It is rose and rose and rose. It does. The economics doesn't change. So we can continue, as the rest of the world does, continue raising minimum wage up and up and up until we completely eliminate the middle class. Then we'll have the upper class and the lower class, or the poor and the rich, or the workers and the aristocrats, like the rest of the world. Or we can look at something different. Start looking at what we need for what would be considered a fair, viable, livable wage. And that is what we should be going towards. Making our economy so that we have the lower class, a strong middle class, and an upper class. But to do that, we have to have a strong, fair, viable, livable wage. There's nothing that dictates that, nothing that defines that, nothing that even states that. Matter of fact, it's a term that I have kind of like made up, and I don't even think people understand what it means. So continue to raise minimum wage only raises the poverty level, shrinks the middle class, and makes it harder for everybody to live. Of course, it makes it easy for you people who are getting minimum wage now for a couple months, and then boom, everything has increased in prices to where it didn't matter anymore. You're right back where you started. And that's what raising minimum wage does. It totally shrinks the middle class. And if we continue on the current path, we'll be like the rest of Europe and other countries like in Europe, where their society has been built on hundreds of years of the peasant and the nobility, the worker, and the aristocrat. That is not the United States of America. we had a strong middle class. Now, let's switch to the second half. Unions. Are unions needed in the United States? Do we need unions? Personally, I never did like unions. But I'm going to tell you, people, in our economic society with a middle class, we have to have unions. They are necessary. You get sick, to prevent the flu, you get the flu shot. It's a little painful, but it's necessary. Same thing with unions. To keep our economy from getting sick, from getting the flu of greed to the rich and the poor being left out, we have to have the inoculation, the shot called unions. It's not something that a lot of us like, but it's a necessity. It's the only thing that's going to help us to define what is a fair, livable wage. And then you all combine together as a union can demand it. And that will make a healthy, strong middle class. So whether I mean, it's like gay marriages. You all know I disagree with it. But I will fight to the death for two people of the same gender to have the same rights and privileges as two people of opposite sexes. And you all know that. Well, the same thing goes for unions. I may not agree with you, and sometimes I don't agree with the tactics at all. But it is a necessity our economy needs, and I will fight to defend their rights to exist. Because we as a nation is different than anywhere else in the world. And it's a combination of things we have stumbled over and learned through the years of our existence for the past 200 years. And we can't throw them away. So when you come to me and you ask about unions, I'm going to tell you, they're a necessity. We need them. We have to have them. Whether I agree with them or not is irrelevant. It's a necessity. Just like people of the same gender that wish to marry. It's their right, their privilege, and they should be guaranteed it. Whether I agree with it or not is irrelevant. You see what I'm saying? I want you to understand these things. Our economy is based on a strong middle class. Unions are getting weaker. The middle class is disappearing. Why? Minimum wages. Unions can't fight for the people in the middle to get equal percentage pay raises as the people who get the increase in middle class. People who don't belong in union shops when that minimum wage hits where they're at, they don't get a raise. That guy that's making just above what the new minimum wages, he don't get a raise. That guy that's above that a little bit, he don't get a raise. The only people that get the raise is when minimum wage people, minimum wage earners, they get the raise, and nobody else. So unions then say, whoa, wait a minute, that's not right. You're going to increase minimum wage for these people in the middle class that were above it, they need some compensation also. And that's what unions do. That's the purpose of unions. That is the antivirus shot to keep our economy from getting the flu called greed, where the upper echelons are greedy and lower echelons, the workers, get nothing. So, unions, I'm going to ask you to help. And I'm going to help you. Because we're going to find what is a fair, livable wage. And we're going to make that happen for everybody in this country. But it's going to be everybody working together. We belong together as a nation. We are unique. We are a one-of-a-kind people. That's why we had these different things here in this country. That's why people from all around the world try to come to this country. And are we going to let the politicians destroy it? Whether they're Republican or Democrat, it doesn't matter. They're against the actual middle class. Both parties are completely against the middle class. The Democrats want to raise everybody up so that they're above the middle class, and when you do that, then the middle class is gone, and you have the workers and you have the aristocrats. The Republicans, they want to keep everybody down and have the aristocrats get. See, neither one of them care. The middle class, the bulk of the United States, is very important. So we have to stand together. Sorry, Democrats, you haven't been performing your duties for the unions for a long time. I don't know why they support you. You say you're for the people, and you're not. You have nothing but social upon social upon social. You have nothing to help the people progress beyond the poverty level. Because every time you say, oh, we're going to give you this, you're going to charge us twice as much in return. So whatever you give, we end up paying more. Well, argue the point you want. Look at Obamacare. That's it. Just take a look at that. It's a good example of how Democrats work. They'll give you a little something and take a lot out of your pocket. The Republicans, they're saying, oh yeah, we need this, but it's going to take money from the rich, so we got to. But they don't say it that way. They say it other ways. Truth is, we have to have a strong economic society. Unions, you can help more than you realize. But it's only going to work when we all work together. I mean, look at me. I'm talking to the NRA and saying, hey, you got to help me protect the rights of that little baby whose parents are both illegal aliens, but that little baby born in this country is an American citizen. And he has rights. She has rights that need to be protected because their parents have no idea. And in turn, we are protecting your right to own a gun. And I'm telling the people who wish to marry of the same gender, it's the same thing. You have to work together with me to protect that baby's rights, to ensure that baby gets everything the Constitution promises it. In turn, you get your rights protected. Your economic middle class is the basis of your. And to protect you, you need to protect all. You all have to understand. Our society is unique. Our society is one of a kind. No other one in the world is like it. So are we going to allow the politicians, like the Soviet Union politicians, because that's all they are. They choose people to run, and they choose the governing bodies, and they go in Congress and they fight for the political ideals, never once worrying about the people. Or are we going to say, this comes to an end? It is over now. We are tired of you, political parties, capturing our government. And we work together. We have to work together. We have to find out what is a fair, equitable, livable wage in this country, so that prosperity among everybody can blossom. That we can have a strong and vibrant middle class, and have a livable lower class. And the upper echelon, they can get rich, but not as fast, and not beyond anything that they could possibly use in 100,000 years. So, people, I'm talking to you, each and every one of you. If you agree with me, help me spread the word. Let people listen to me. If you disagree, less talk. Because the only way we can get your voice is the way I'm doing it. And we can get you. And together we, all of us, not me, can fix our nation. Don't expect the politicians to do it. Don't expect the political parties to do it. Don't expect the rich to even try to do it. And the poor, the only way they know is of the gun. But we can do it, and we can use the two weapons that is far superior to any gun, any cannon, any military. It's called the Constitution of the United States of America, and it's the vote. 2016, it's our time. We either take our country back or lose it forever. So people, start spreading what I'm saying out there. Let the people know JD is real. Let them know. 2008, you found out what you want. 2016, it's time to put you in the government. It's time to make the Constitution say and mean we the people. It's time to protect the Constitution and all your rights and privileges as guaranteed by the Constitution. You want to read your privileges? People can't find them. They're in the preamble, every one of them. Your rights, they start at Amendment 1 at the very first word and go from there. It's up to you. I have done everything I can to tell you what we can do and how we can do it. But you have to decide, is this guy for real? Well, 2008, you can listen to what I say all the way up to now. Have it changed? No. Maybe my hair has, maybe my face has, but have I changed? No. Have what I've been saying changed? No. People are starting to copy what I say now. The difference between them and me is I am the real thing. And that is something that nobody can claim other than me, JD. And JD is real. Has been real from about 2 weeks after my first wife left me. And I'll explain to you, JD is a pickup line. Now though, this is about economy, minimum wage, middle class, and the union. And most of all, fair, livable wages for income. And that is what our nation needs. A strong middle class and a solid, fair, livable wage. And all raising minimum wage does is squeezing out the middle class like in most of Europe. And unions, you are dearly needed, direly needed, strongly needed in our economy. That's it, people. Now you have to start deciding. You have to start saying, is this man for real? Can I trust him to bring my voice? Hey, you're the only one that's supporting me. I can't do it alone. There's no way. But with all of you, we can't lose. And remember, my greatest fear is actually winning in 2016. Because I know the job that lays before us. And the job will be done. Thank you. This is JD. Remember, 2016. If you agree with me, help me. If you disagree, let's talk.